Hi, I'm Dana HOKANA. I want to teach you 4 important steps to learning a concept. You know, all of us as writers and students, because we're all students in something or another, we often tend to get after ourselves or get discouraged, or how can I grasp this concept and how can I learn faster? And I've done a lot of studying on learning because I want to know how horses learn so that I can help you to teach your horse better, to make a clearer message, to teach your horse a concept that'll work for him. And I love studying on learning, how horses learn and how people learn. And I want to talk to you a little about people right now and how we learn as people. And you know, the awareness and the opening our minds to concepts is so huge. You know, we don't know what we don't know. And so I'm going to teach you a study that I learned and 4 tips that I think are going to be helpful to you so you know maybe what phase you're in. If you're struggling with really grasping something or getting really good at it, this might help you know where you're at in the learning process. And you know, learning is a process. Don't get impatient with yourself. Learning doesn't come instantly. Learning is a process. So, 4 main steps, and they are: step number 1 is you are unconsciously incompetent. Step number 2 is you're consciously incompetent. Step number 3 is you are consciously competent. And step number 4 is you are unconsciously competent. Now that's kind of a tongue twister, I know, but there's some really important messages in these four steps. So the first is unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. You didn't know you were doing it wrong, and you don't really even know what you're supposed to do. It's all new. It's like going for lessons or learning a new event with your horse. You don't know what you're supposed to do. In fact, maybe you don't even know the event or what's expected out of you. You are unconscious about it because you don't know, and you are incompetent not because you're not incapable. Don't ever misconstrue that I'm saying you're incapable. It just means your result or performance at the moment is at some level or another of incompetence. And it may be slightly incompetent. It may not be as competent as your goal is. And this is no put down on any person. No way am I saying you or I are incompetent because I go through the same steps. We all do. But it just means you are unconsciously incompetent. And the next step is you are consciously incompetent. That's like when you go to your first horse show, or you go and you study a new thing, like a new body control exercise to follow the nose, and you realize it's out there, or you realize your horse should be performing a little better, or their transition into the lope should be without banging their head up and down, or maybe they should be cleaner in their trail pulls, whatever it may be. You all of a sudden are conscious and aware of the fact that this is not good enough. You are aware that you are not doing it correctly, or your horse isn't doing it correctly. And that is consciously incompetent. The third step is consciously competent. That's when you do your teaching. And that's where I'm usually with you on. In my video lessons, in Team HOKANA, in my DVDs, or with my clinics with students, I'm with you through that phase where I bring to your awareness what's not right. And I walk you through doing it correctly, right? And in that stage of consciously competent, it is often a very uncomfortable stage because it's not necessarily natural for us. It's possibly a stage of learning where we're doing something that's difficult. We can have frustration with ourselves, or our coach, or our horse, or whoever gets in your way. You know, it can be a hard time, but it's when you're learning a concept and everything you do about it has to consciously be thinking about that concept that you're learning. And the last and final stage is that you're unconsciously competent. And that's the point where you've done it so much and so well, you really don't even realize that you're doing it. You just do it out of second nature. That's like that point where it's easy for you. You've done it. You know if it's right or wrong. And you can even later be going, wait a minute, I didn't even realize I was doing it like that. Let me give you a couple examples of how it would apply. What about a little toddler learning to tie their shoe? At first, their mom always ties their shoe, and they don't realize that they don't know how to tie their shoe. Pretty soon they watch their older brother, or they watch other kids, or they watch their mom or dad, and they think, I don't know how to tie my shoe. I want to learn to tie my shoe. So they went from being unconsciously incompetent, they don't know or care, to consciously incompetent, where they know they don't know. They know that they do not know what to do. Unconsciously incompetent is you don't know, and you don't know how, and you don't care, because you don't know that you don't know. The second, where you're consciously incompetent, is you know now that you don't know. That's sometimes painful for us. We realize we're not there. That's when we have to talk to ourselves and use our self-talk and say things like, hey, I can learn this too. Because sometimes all of us go, how could I ever learn that? How do I get from step A to step B? This seems way out there. It seems like climbing to the moon. How do I get there? But that's that moment where we're consciously aware of what we don't know. And that's painful sometimes. That's the phrase, that's the step where he's watching everybody and he's trying to tie his shoe and he doesn't know how. The next step is where he's consciously competent. And that's the stage where his mom or someone is teaching him to make your bow, fold it over the other side, and it's uncomfortable. It's difficult. It's sometimes like irritating, and that's where I work on my patients. Like, okay, slow down, do it again and learn. That's a hard step also to be. And that's that longest step of learning. That's that step where you have to walk through the trials of learning something. And guess what? It's not always easy for everybody, but we can do it. Then pretty soon he gets so adept and excellent at tying his shoe that he ties his shoe and there was never a conscious thought involved. He just tied his shoe and did it. Another example would be driving home or to a new home you just moved in. You might have to pull up your maps at first because you realize you don't know how to get to that new home you're going to go look at to buy, so you're unconsciously incompetent. By the time you're at the last step, you drive home or drive to the store or wherever that you didn't know where it was at one point, and now you know where it was. You don't even recall the drive home because it's unconsciously competent. So stay with your learning, everybody, and increase your level of learning. Stay with your learning. Increase your resources around you, right? And that's why I offer the clinics, the Team HOKANA Video Club with over 200 videos. It's why I offer the DVDs that are now available streaming. It's why I offer video lessons. I want to increase your knowledge and increase your tools in your toolbox so that I can help you to be the best that you can be. But, go through this process with some patience with yourself. Go through and be patient, be kind to yourself, and know that you're going to get it. I want to tell you about Team HOKANA Video Club. Team HOKANA Video Club is an online video club with access to over 200 training and writing videos available anytime, anywhere. Those videos contain so many topics like learning horse behavior, colt breaking, body control, preparing for the show arena, preparing for high-level show arena like the World Show. Whatever you do, you're going to find help there. How to develop feel and timing, how to get your horse light in the face, the correct way to put a horse in a shank bridle, learning about bits and bridles, how to improve your seat and your balance and your rhythm, understanding how horses move and how to improve their movement. Team HOKANA has so much. You'll learn about ranch riding, lead changes, trail, western pleasure, horsemanship, any event you compete in, even hunter under saddle, groundwork, whatever you do, you will learn and excel after watching Team HOKANA.
Great. I loved being able to have Team HOKANA as a great resource because I do a lot of it at home, and so to be able to use those videos and kind of seek out things where my horses maybe had a few issues, and it's really great and organized by category, so I could find something about departures and transitions and stuff and be able to go and apply that to my horses.
A lot of us have dreams, but that dream is nothing more than a fantasy until you put knowledge to it. Sign up today at HOKANA.com.